In a landscape dominated by action combos and high-octane gameplay, the more mellow games can have a hard time finding their footing. But 2024 has been different. While the major face-punching action games are here, most of what I have enjoyed this year has been a lot more low-key. SCHiM, or SCHiM? Not really sure how to pronounce this one, is a breath of fresh air. An at first confusing, minimalistic, often two-tone 3D platformer that sees a man in the depths of depression separated from his shadow. You take on the role of the goopy shadow frog in search of his lonely person. This one came out a while ago and I received a code at the worst possible moment, in that it was the best moment of my life, but the worst possible moment for this professionally. Now I'm back from my paternity leave to tell you all about this great indie title. With inspired openness, gorgeous art style, and a lovely attention to the flow of levels, SCHiM isn't just an excellent platformer. It's a great exploration of depression and separation anxiety. So first off, what is a SCHiM? A SCHiM is the soul and spirit of an object, thing, or living being. Everything in the world has one. A SCHiM should never be separated from their thing. The story of SCHiM is told through dialogueless scenes as we see our man and his wide-eyed amphibian shadow making their way through the stages of life, starting in childhood, where a communion of shady frogs accompanies a group of kids playing. This is our introduction to the game's main mechanic, shadow traversal. You see, like a goth kid who definitely isn't going through a phase, Mom, our little schwimmer here can only navigate in the darkness, in the gloopy dark sections of the ground that make up a finite part of the level. The game tasks you with deftly leaping from one splotch of darkness to the next. Each object has a unique interaction, like lampposts are able to sling you forward, or certain fuse boxes are able to turn off or create light sources. Movement isn't in a flow state in this game, but there is something so satisfyingly rhythmic about hopping your way down a street using only shadows cast in the sunlight. As the story continues, the pressures of life begin to build and weigh heavy on our protagonist as he reaches a low point. This is where we are separated and pulled away and begin the chase to return to our person through this abstract world. SCHiM features dozens of unique levels, all incredibly well thought out, with fascinating opportunities to explore micro-segments of their worlds. Moving across a busy street using a flock of ducks, or by jumping from car shadow to passing biker shadow, each area had so many ways to complete them, and I love the variety found in every single area. While none of the game's levels will stump you necessarily, the narrative is very hands-off. You'll find no compass, no waypoints, or clustered UI telling you where to go, or every single piece of information as it's given to you. No, you'll only find a button to see where you're going. The path is up to you, which is where the level design's intelligent layout comes into play. Navigation may seem surface level easy, but the trick is in the manipulation of the camera, as the shoulder buttons allow you to rotate your perspective, giving you more angles on shady havens. Likewise, discovering the interactions along the way makes the journey all that much more fun to embrace. The main story unfolds end to end per level, but contains little folded in side stories that feel like discovering an interconnected network of treasure caves. This made the relatively linear levels feel like lived in spaces with stories outside of the scope of what narrative is being told. I really loved these little tidbits along my journey, none of which I'm going to spoil here because I want you to discover them yourself. Beyond that, the levels play a lot with the concept of time and space. Levels can range from tightly compact areas like playgrounds to full-size city streets. Time seems to move at random paces. Sometimes you are going moment to moment chasing the afterimage of your boy, and other times it feels like you take a leap and land in a completely different time of day. The focus on light positions and time of day changes when and where you are able to shadow hop, so this messing with time can create another level of challenge. The dusk and dawn of the sun above cast long dark pools for you to frolic in, whereas the noon sun sits directly overhead, casting short bits of blackened safety on the ground. This economy of darkness becomes a playground for my rhythmic jumps, oftentimes creating some of my favorite moments. There's also something to be said about the soundtrack of this game. It's like lo-fi meets percussive joy. I love the way that it plays with this whimsical sound and creates this otherworldly feeling while also feeling like what you would hear as you play as a kid. Shout out to the soundtrack on this one for sure. From concept to execution, I really have nothing to complain about with SCHiM. Its minimalistic color palette mixed with a fun art style make the levels pop. The choice of visual narration versus dialogue makes the focus on the emotions of the actions happening, allowing for a more engrossing tale overall. Its short length makes it relatively easy to conquer, and a fun, relaxing, cozy platformer to just sit down with and knock out in a day. Is this the greatest, most challenging platformer I've ever played? No. But SCHiM is one of the most unique and quietly enjoyable platformers I've experienced to date, bringing a sense of wonder to something as mundane as your shadow. SCHiM is a brilliant indie outing and a uniquely artistic experience that I have to give a 9 out of 10. If you enjoyed this review and want to see more of ours, be sure to subscribe so you never miss another review, and check out our latest video. For Hardwired, I'm Andrew Hamilton.